The controversial topic that is being discussed amongst the Chelsea fan base is how is Chelsea going to get the best out of their most expensive signings? These signings have actually costed three managers their jobs at Chelsea, and this is the signing of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. So Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez were signed to look like the perfect complement in midfield. And I still have the view that they can actually be the midfield answer for Chelsea. Their huge fees commands that these two players should be the first names of the team sheet because we understand club politics and balancing the books. So these two players actually somehow contributed a certain proportion to Mauricio Pochettino's sacking at Chelsea because Pochettino was not able to get the best of both of them. And actually Caicedo and Enzo played better with Gallagher rather than playing with each other. So one key problem that Maresca has to form upon his start as Chelsea head coach is to try and get the best out of Enzo and Moises Caicedo. And in our video today, we are going to tactically analyze and see where these two players can be deployed. Check our previous videos for more Maresca's analysis. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Pochettino tried to deploy Enzo Fernandez in the number 8 role, a position where I tactically analyzed how this position makes Enzo Fernandez create problems for Chelsea. And you can see from this clip here where Enzo Fernandez is starting as a left half space player and attacking number 8. But you can see that he is not quite disciplined to hold this position, unlike Cole Palmer, who understands this position quite well. Now, when Enzo is in this position, majority of the times he likes to vacate his position and drop deep to receive the ball because he likes to get onto the ball a lot of times. And you see that the position he vacates, he leaves space, and therefore the fullback can easily double up against the winger. And this really affected Chelsea's left-hand flank, and that's why actually Conor Gallagher was preferred, because Gallagher knew and understood how to play in that position, though his out-end product in terms of his passing and shooting was not quite the best. Now, my pick from this position is that because Maresca will be using an inverted fullback, that Enzo Fernandez is actually the player who's supposed to play as the holding midfielder, and not necessarily a defensive midfielder, but rather a deep lying playmaker, similar to what Jorginho used to do for Maurizio Sarri. Enzo Fernandez, a player who's very intelligent playing from the back. He knows when to drop deep to receive the ball. He likes to have the ball majority of the times. He likes to get the ball. He likes to play penetrative line-breaking passes. He likes to switch play and actually likes to move intelligently in midfield. Can be used similar to what we saw Maurizio Sarri use Jorginho. And in this position, his main aim will be trying to dictate the tempo of the game, because Maresca plays a possession-based football, and therefore him playing with an inverted fullback, either Cucurella or Reece James, who will give him that extra solidity in midfield, can allow Enzo to play much more freely. In the first game of the season last season, he played this position against Liverpool, and this is where we saw the best Enzo Fernandez performance. He was very dynamic. He received the ball, and when you look at the statistics, you can clearly see Enzo's stats. You can look at his non-penalty XG, his progressive passes, his pass completion rate, and you can see the number of touches he has. So this is a player who likes to get involved with the play. He likes to have the ball at his feet. He likes to dictate the tempo of the game. He wants to make those line-breaking passes, crosses, and all those cross-field passes. Now, because Enzo Fernandez will be playing alongside an inverted fullback, this means that he will have less space to cover, and therefore he will be more protected in this position, where he can actually be the one to actually look to try and ensure Chelsea are able to play effectively. Now, this is something that we also saw the previous season where he played this position. We know Enzo Fernandez wants to have the ball. He wants to be the one who stands and actually plays behind so that he can be the one who can see players making passes over the top. He's the player who knows how to play those pinpointed passes over the top, something that it will be very influential when you have overlapping fullbacks such as Reece James or players such as Noni Madueke and Mykhailo Mudryk, who will be looking to actually make those runs. Enzo Fernandez also understands how to play quick one-touch passes, something that we saw him play in this position, and he's a player who knows how to intelligently move. He can read the lines, he can understand where spaces have opened up, and he's very fast in playing these balls. Having him play in this position, he can be able to see the entire pitch. He can have the space to make line-breaking passes, pick up players such as Cole Palmer who will play in between the lines. And Enzo Fernandez in this position will be much more free. He'll be much more involved in the game, something that he likes to do. He will have a lot of time with the ball. You know, there are those players who just want to keep the ball. He's a player like Rodri. You can find Rodri just wanting to have the ball, Jorginho wanting to have the ball. So the role of Fernandez in this team is not a destroyer per se. He's not playing like a destroyer, but rather he's a player who is playing to actually look to break those lines. He's a player who plays in that position to receive the ball, to find the third man. He's the player who drops deep when the team is building up. He's the player who knows how to pick up players in between the lines. And that is why, in my opinion, he's the player who's supposed to play in that deep position in midfield. And that is the position that I think Maresca is going to play him, or he can even play him as a number 8. But in my honest opinion, I believe that he will play there. Alternatively, Maresca might also decide that Fernandez will not play in this position, and the best player to play in that position for me is Romeo Lavia. Now, if Lavia is fit, he knows how to play that deep-lying playmaker role well. He's also good at defending and tackling. He's also good at recovery runs. So with Lavia in that position, you get a mix of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, but also recovery runs, something that Caicedo is not good at, but Romeo Lavia is good at. So Lavia, in the long term, will be the holding midfielder. Now, the question is, will he be fit enough to actually hold that role and nail it down? Now, the next position we're going to look at is about Caicedo. And when you look at Caicedo's stats, you mainly do not look at the first two columns, because the first two columns talks about his attacking stats. He did not play further forward, but you can look at his progressive passes and his line-breaking passes, and you can see that this is a player who's much more creative as somehow a number 8. And looking below, you can see his defensive numbers, his tackles, his interceptions, his blocks. Now, using Caicedo in this position is similar to how Guardiola used Ilkay Gundogan in this position, and it is similar to how Maurizio Sarri used N'Golo Kante in this position. Now, Kante in this position was more of a ball winner. Using Kante as a number 8 was using him more as a ball winner. But with Caicedo, you get a ball winner and a player who's also good at progressing the ball, something similar to what Ilkay Gundogan did for Guardiola at Manchester City. Now, his main aim is either to make those underlapping runs, to try and make those cutbacks into the box, and he should also be knowledgeable to shoot from a cutback. Caicedo in this role, his main role will be a box-to-box, knowing when to push forward to actually create that overload together with the number 11 who will be playing the left wing, either Raheem Sterling or Mykhailo Mudryk, and knowing when to slip up these players. And also in this position, he should be very good at what we call the counter press, and also know when to drop deep to actually sit alongside Enzo Fernandez and actually look to try and seal the game. Him dropping deep gives Enzo another defensive strength when Cucurella or the right back looks to invert. Caicedo is very good at intercepting the ball. He's very good at the counter press, and therefore this is a player that you need high up the pitch. So when you have a player like Caicedo high up the pitch, you ensure that Chelsea are able to win the ball high up, denying the opposition any time and space to look and try and launch a counter attack. Caicedo is also quite good at dribbling. He's very good at tight spaces, and therefore because he's very good at playing in the tight spaces, he can be very instrumental for Chelsea high up. But his main role is to play those line breaking passes, to play those through balls for his wingers, to make those slide tackles, to press aggressively high up the pitch. The main aim is to have him pressing, his machinery, his intelligence, his ability to block, his ability to defend, his ability to tackle high up, so that When Gallagher is not there, you know very well that Caicedo will be the one who will be up there, ready to win that ball. And this might actually give some steel in that Chelsea attack. It gives Chelsea some steel. It gives the left winger some space, and it also allows Enzo Fernandez, who's playing deeper, less work because he has an aggressive player high up who's willing to actually do the dirty job. And this is what Kante did very well for Thomas Tuchel, that saw Chelsea actually win the Champions League. And he also saw Jorginho's game improve when Kante played alongside him, because Kante managed to win the ball high up. Now, the question is on Enzo Maresca, because he's the one who's supposed to come into this team and actually identify how he's able to get the best assets for the team. Because remember, managing a team and coaching a team is not necessarily picking the best players. You also need to ensure that the club's assets are able to generate more value with time. So it's up to Enzo Maresca to determine where both Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez will play. That was just my opinion with regards to how he deployed Wilfred Ndidi as a number 8 rather than a number 6, giving Ndidi much more space to express himself. Now the question is, what will be the midfield pairing when all Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo and Romeo Lavia are all back into the team? Remember that these two players are very, very important for Chelsea, and therefore Lavia, who's much more gifted than Enzo in that position, will really give Maresca a lot of problems. Now, I'll be very keen to see how he will use them in Chelsea's pre-season that is about to start in some weeks' time, and we are going to try and see where these players are going to play. But my opinion is that Enzo is much suited to play as a deep-lying playmaker, similar to what Pirlo did, similar to what Jorginho did for Sarri and Thomas Tuchel, and he is the one who can have the time to have the ball, to be with the ball, to look to try and progress the ball forward, which will be very, very important. And Caicedo can be deployed on the other side as a player who wins the ball back, similar to what Kante did for Sarri and Thomas Tuchel. If you've enjoyed this analysis, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel. And if you've watched till the end, thanks for watching.